Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We will kindly ask you to accommodate us by switching your mobile devices to silent mode so that you will not disrupt the event. Thank you. A very good morning to Datuk Sharon, Group Executive Director, MAHSA Group, Mr. Morton Lee, Chief Executive Officer, Genexus Advisory, Sdn Bhd, Datuk, Datin, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. First and foremost, we would like to thank you for coming here early in the morning to witness and participate in the official launching of genetic profiling tests on the 8th of March 2022 at MAHSA Avenue. Kindly give yourself a round of applause. I'm Andrew Tan, the Business Director of Genexus Advisory. I will be your MC for today, but I will not be speaking. Important people will be invited to the front to share with you what we have in line for you. And to kick it off for now, we'd like to invite Mr. Morton Lee, the Chief Executive Officer, to give his opening address. Let's put our hands to welcome Mr. Morton Lee. Mr. Morton Lee.
Okay. Good morning, Datuk Sharon. Good morning, Mr. Gobi, and all the Datin here and the crowd. Okay. Today it brings us great pleasure to welcome all of you here at MAHSA University to participate and witness. Sorry, blur, I cannot see. The official launching of the genetic profiling test with MAHSA in collaboration with MAHSA and Atomic Health and Pacific Insurance. Since over 7 years ago, since Genexus inception, we as a financial advisor have come a long way where your financial health and beyond is our concern. Today, with the participation of MAHSA Group, we aim to bring more value to you and your family. The genetic profiling test is one, and there are many more initiatives in the pipeline to come. We certainly hope with the launching of this genetic profiling test, we are able to monitor and check your health and to take preventive steps to ensure that we are able to enjoy our valuable time with our loved ones, friends. I don't want to take much of your time. Anyway, this is our digital card, name card. This is one of the things that we are going to do. So enjoy today. Pass it back to Andrew.
Thank you, Mr. Morton Lee. Can you kindly remain on stage? Let's give him another round of applause. We would like to invite Dr. Sharon to the front for the official launch. We would like to invite Dr. Maya, Professor Dr. Sri Kumar, Dr. Ron Tan. Dr. Ron Tan is the founder for Atomic Health. Let's welcome him. Mr. Ong Moon Jian will be the speaker later. Can we invite him as well? He's the Chief Medical Officer from Pacific. Whenever Dato and Mr. Morton is ready and the rest of the VIP ready, just to press the button for the official launch of the genetic profiling test under Genexus Advisory. And let's give them a round of applause. At the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's give another round of applause for the official launch of the genetic profiling test. We would like all the VIPs to stand in front in the center for the photo session. We also like to invite all the CEOs, the Chief Executive Officers, and the representatives who are present with us today. Let's invite Mr. Kenny Ting, Mr. Gobi, Mr. Lau Ying Chuan, Mr. Teh Song Lan, Mr. Tom, Mr. Miss Lim Paget, Mr. Yong Lik Seng, one line maybe to the front. Okay. And can we invite all the photographers, the cameramen to come forward to take this significant moment?
One, two, three. One, two.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. You may now be invited to. Next on the agenda will be something very exciting, because going forward, things have changed a lot from the moment, like for instance, the COVID-19 MCO, the various forms, and now we are going into the new era, the 2020, 10 years of new developments. We found that our collaboration with Atomic Health has discovered many things, and we are proud and glad to present to you the founder of Atomic Health, all the way from Singapore, to share with us what DNA profiling, what genetic profiling is all about. Now, let us put our hands together to warmly welcome the founder of Atomic Health, Dr. Ron.
Good morning, everyone. Really nice to be here today for this event. Today really is my first trip to KL. I've been traveling to KL for the past, since the founding of the company. I've been coming to KL almost every 2 weeks. But today is my first trip in 2 years. I've not been coming to KL. I missed the food. So yesterday I had a real good lunch and dinner with some of the guys. Really good. So really happy to be here to morning, Dato, Mr. Morton Lee, and all the Dato Tatins. Good morning to all of you. It's my pleasure to be here on behalf of Atomic Health to introduce these products that we did. So a bit of background of myself. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a scientist by training. I did my PhD in biomedical science, primarily focused on infectious diseases. So COVID is something that's very close to my heart. All right, knowing the fact that it really affects a lot of people, a lot of our livelihood. All right, and that actually gives us a further motivations to what we want to do that leads on to the product today. So some of my past experience, we have been looking into diagnostics. I've been leading some teams in Singapore to look into diagnostics development, working with the best in the industry, all right, to look into new discovery for diagnostics, for treatments, and so on. So allow me to introduce a bit more about Genomics Health, and here there's a short video clip to give you a bit more in depth of what we do.
At Genomics Health, we are committed to deliver high-quality, cost-effective genetic testing solutions and clinical diagnostics for your research and improving patient care.
From the short video clip, back in 2017, Genomics Health was founded with the intent to really look into precision medicine diagnostics and digital healthcare solutions for everyone. So that actually, with a mission to really advance digital healthcare solutions for better health. The core team, introducing a core team, myself, which are the founder, my partner, Michael, who is also here with me today, Esther, who is unfortunately unable to make it to the trip, and Mr. Joseph Koh. Each of them have already got vast experience from the corporate strategy, from the commercialization marketing angle, and as well as the digital platform establishments. All right, some of them used the ex-COO of listed company who have built digital platforms over the years. Some of them who have been vast experience in MNCs, looking into the marketing for global regions and so on. So we have formed a very core, strong team here to make this whole digital healthcare solutions happen. And of course, this needs to be really have a lot of very good advisors in our panel. Number one, Dr. Lui, who is actually our key consultant when it comes to precision medicine diagnostics. All right, she's actually the former president in the College of Pathology in the Academy of Pathology Malaysia. Dr. Leong Ho Nam, some of you probably would have seen him on the media. All right, he is the infectious disease expert in Singapore that really, he was one of the forefronters in the COVID situations. All right, in fact, just to share, he's actually one of the SARS survivors back in 2003. So COVID, which is also looking into it very closely, something that's very close to them. So we are very fortunate to have these two key clinical advisors on board that will always provide very good advice to what we do and what are the new precision diagnostics and the things that we should be looking at. All right, so we are very proud to have them on board. Mr. Joseph Lee, Mr. Anthony Koh, who have been experienced from the business angle, looking into charting, all right, the how we should look at from the commercialization aspect. But for today's product, it would not have happened without Mr. Kenny, all right, who's here today. The product, when we developed this product, we were always looking into how we can bring value. All right, how we can bring value to the insurance sector. And Kenny, thanks to him, where we really work very closely together, that we partner together, look into how we can do a risk scoring with the insurance product. So his vast experience in the insurance product add a lot of value to this whole entire business. All right. So really thanks to all of them who have contributed in a very significant manner. Now, so in Patomics do what we actually do. We provide clinical diagnostics. All right. We provide the state-of-the-art technology to create what we call actionable genomics insights to the patients. So these are more for the disease patients. But we also have one which I'm going to go into details today, which is the focus of the product today, which is actually the risk profiling product, what we call the PathGene product. That is really looking into the key diseases for the healthy people. And this would not have happened with all these technologies that we have brought in, all right, from international partners. We partner with international partner technology capabilities that we have brought into Malaysia. All right, and right now we have a very good partnerships with University of Malaya, where we are their strategic partners in providing the oncology diagnostic to all their patients. All right, so this is our laboratory outfit, and we were one of the rare, very unusual public-private partnerships program that we have built with UN itself. And we are another key milestones that we have achieved back in 2021, despite the fact that we have during the COVID pandemic, was that we actually formed an alliance with QIAGEN. QIAGEN is actually a German MNC. They're the top, one of the world top diagnostics company in the world. We were very happy to announce that we actually formed an alliance with this German company, where we are actually the genomic testing reference lab for the entire Southeast Asia. So we are bringing in the best techs around into the market to provide this for the entire people who needs the genomic testing facilities. And
hi, my name is William, and I'm Director for Commercial Operations Southeast Asia at QIAGEN. We are now partnering with Atomic Health to bring NGS service to the next level.
So it's much shorter. This clip is shorter. We actually have a full clip, but quite a lot of more on the scientific aspects of it. All right, but so we are happy with them that we are now bringing this technology to Malaysia, to Singapore, and the rest of the Southeast Asia. Okay, and the core facilities is right here in Malaysia. So we will be very happy to have the kind of engagements with the partners like you all today. Now, and this is our key strategic partners that we have built over the years since 2017, where we are now providing very good clinical testing services to some of our Malaysian partners. And we also have our regional partners that we have established over the years. And of course, we are also very happy that we have now have Genexus, Pacific Insurance, and so on. There's also on board with us to embark on this exciting journey with together. So allow me to introduce this product to you. All right, we have really happy that we have launched this product today. It's called the PathGene with a tagline. It is actually a personalized health coach to you, healthy and every one of us. All right, in here we can do this test. All right, next. So the DNA tells a lot about your health. All right, we all know. All right, DNA is an us deciding how we looks like, deciding our, how we behave, whether you're male or female, your gender, and so on and so forth. It tells a lot, but it's beyond what we see at the physical level, because it actually also means not just on how you look like, but it's also it also gives you a lot of message about what is underlying health risk that we have. Okay, so this is something that's very critical to know, and a lot of people until today, a lot of people oversee that part. All right, they only know what DNA is like, but they do not know what it carries along. And if we were to unlock, imagine if we were to unlock this puzzle, knowing about the underlying risk that you have, what do you have? And how can you improve your health? After you know the kind of the health risks that you are going to have, what can you do with it? All right, what can you do to improve it? And so this is the motivation behind of this product. What are you going to do with it? And how we can do what else we can. A lot of follow-up actions and what we can. So, because at the end of the day, health is wealth. I think this is something that's a very critical message that we want to have. All right. A lot of people, chasing after the wealth, but neglect health. Right. So this is something that we want to see. Hey, can we balance that? All right. Health is wealth is a critical message that I hope all of here today is important. All right. Important for you to know. And this is the intent of this product for you. Now, again, looking into the landscape, when we embark on the journey of developing these products, we look into a few aspects. Of course, the key thing is that there are a lot of such products in the market. Some of you probably will have asked. All right, in my conversation with some of you over the over the last couple of months, there are quite a lot of genomics products out there. We heard about the common brands, 23andMe from US, Circle DNA from Hong Kong, Region from China, etc., etc., etc. There are a lot, but a few key points that I want to highlight that how we differentiate from them. Yeah. Now, one of the very critical things that I want to ask you guys, all right? One, what is really important? All right, this is a very fundamental question. Reason, if you look into the current products, they are all great products, by the way. They are really good products. Yeah. If you look into the current products that they have, you sign up the basic package. The basic package that you have will cover ancestry, right? Ancestry, your ancestors in the past few levels up, how many percent of your ancestors come from China, plus how many percent coming from Korea, how many percent coming from Japan. Yeah, good to know. All right, it's good for you to know, understand. Oh, okay, yeah, it's good. Second, lifestyle. How well you break down your alcohol so that you won't get drunk easily when you go to the pub. You go drinking, you won't drop. That kind of thing. A lifestyle kind of good, so that when you go to the pub, you won't fall down easily when you drink alcohol for that. Fair. 3, personal traits. Are you going to have curly hair, green eye, blue eye, that kind of thing? The key, which is something that is an in product right now, by the way, in China, your kid's success. By knowing your DNA, by profiling your kid's DNA, you are able to know whether is he going to be the next Dato' Lee Chong Wei, or going to be the next Mozart, or going to be the next whatever. Now, looking into this, I ask myself this question, or rather I ask a few key questions. Are they really important? They're good to know, by the way. It's important to know your ancestor and so on, whether what kind of traits that you have. But things like kid success, as a scientist, wearing a hat as a scientist, I would really want to hold my reservations, because we all know, or rather quite a few of us here, our father or mothers, our children, how your kids become rely a lot about us. All right, the environment, the parents' upbringing. These are more critical. Genetics play a role, but not as actually it plays a very little role. All right. So this is something that motivates us. Is it really important? It's good for you. So of course, some of the products also add in there's certain health risks, but that is an add-on package. So by the time you add on, you probably pay about 3,000 ringgit for something. Yes. All right. So something that's important to know. All right. If you want to know all this, okay. But is it going to affect your health? That is the key question. Number two, you go online, you purchase a report. You download the full report. What next? Yeah, I know my report. I know my ancestor, blah, blah, blah. I know all this. What's next that we need to know? So these are the key questions when we read how we position our product. These were the two fundamental questions that we asked ourselves. The team asked themselves. Okay, what really matters to us? So here we are. We look into a risk profiling. We decided to look into something that is more important, which is your health risk. Health risk. Okay, what is the propensity of you or us having certain diseases? Right, and this is where we look into how we can bundle this product together with the insurance side of it, because it affects. All right, it affects how you manage it. All right, so this is where the motivation behind of how we position this product. It addresses the previous question, what's next? That I'm trying to highlight here. All right, so this is where we come in. And here we are, no blood, no needles. I just need you to speak. And even all of us can speak here, right? All right. So something that's really easy to operate, just like what this lady is doing, you just need 2 mL of your saliva. You need 2 mL of saliva, spit into it, shake it, send it back to us, we will do the rest. It's simple as that. All right. And we give you actionable report. Later you will see, I'll show you an example of how a typical report looks like. You will know how it looks. You know, it's something that's so easy to read. It's not a rocket science kind of terminologies that we are using. No. All right. No. Easy to read. Actionable. All right. The keyword here is actionable. 3, we also provide additional services. What we can do here. And we actually then look into another area now. Hey, how can we then bundle in, all right, with insurance product? And we use this matrix. And this is our proprietary knowledge that we have created. We spent about a year plus looking into this product. We developed our new algorithm, our own algorithm, by coming up with a very simple risk scoring. Of course, the background is not easy, but the risk scoring is here. 0 to 5. Easy to read. 0 to 2, low risk. 2 to 3, medium risk. 4 to 5, medium high, and high risk. Something that's easy to read, you know, following the green, yellow, red. You look at it. And with that is basically the risk scoring that we use, that we will then work on how a typical product, all right, an insurance product can be worked on. All right. So this is where we come in. Now, of course, the key question is why we look into this? Why we look into cancers, diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, and all these related diseases? Now, it is of no surprise, nothing new, that with the improvements of all our lives today, especially in the new affluence of what we call the middle class. New affluence of the middle class that has come in with more educations that all of us here have over the years and so on and so forth. We are much more cautious about health. That's number 1. Number 2, it really matters now when we look into the NCDs, non-communicable diseases. So these are the key. And what's more worrying is the statistics today. Because cardiovascular, we all know, is the number 1 killer in the world. This is not a surprise. Whole world. Number 2, cancers. At some point of time, our loved ones, definitely, our loved ones, we will have heard cases that they are suffering from cancers. All right. Now, there are already more and more scientific evidence whereby the DNA is now very related to cancers. it has been quite widely publicized right now today. A lot and more scientific evidence today have been built over the years. So this is something that's very critical for us to take note. Number 3, diabetes. All right, I come from Singapore. All right, I'm a half Malaysian. My wife is Malaysian. So we all now know it's a hard true fact. Malaysia and Singapore are actually among the 2 highest incidence of diabetes in the world. All right. So if you look into all these pretty scary statistics that we have today, that actually creates why we specifically, we don't want to look into, ancestry, lifestyle, or all these things. We choose not to do that. We go straight into what we want to know, what we need to know, which is cancers, diabetes, heart-related diseases. It's something that's really close to us, if you agree with me on that. Very close, what we want to know. And these are all the critical pointers that we want to see. All right? Don't need to know ancestry, but this is more important here. Now, so how exactly then we develop this whole product? All right, a bit of scientific talks here. A particular disease is what we cause by what we call the gene mutations. All right, gene mutations. A better illustration. Imagine the top guy. This is what we call a healthy individual. All right, he has made of this kind of DNA makeup. Okay, a very simplified illustration. A particular disease person, he may have a mutation somewhere here. All right, here. This is a very simple illustration. But it's not so simple because a particular gene may have a lot of mutations somewhere that leads on to certain cancers and diseases. All right, a lot of mutations going on. So what we did, we begin off our first algorithm by looking into about 3,000 data points, all right, which in the market standard, if you have 1,000 is all right, good to go. But we decided to push ourselves more. We push in more, all right, to make sure that we have a strong accuracy, strong credibility, scientifically much better kind of a setup that we want to have before we push out these products. So we look into the data. Where do we get the data from? Number 1, we get from an Asian. This is we all heard about Human Genome Project, right? The floor here, you all heard about Human Genome Project. All right, that's about 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago. Human Genome Project was first announced. And this is what we call the GWAS study, Genome-Wide Association Studies. Because of the population genetics, it leads on to a lot of studies. They look into very specific Asian, the Caucasians, the Africans, and so on. So there were a lot of studies going on all over the world. So we pull out specifically Asian population. Why? Because we are all Southeast Asian population. All right. Some of the studies that you see, some of the products that you see out there in the market. 23andMe is a US company, so their database come from the Americans. Agree? The Caucasians. WeGene, which is a China company, their key population comes from what? The Chinese. Am I right? Now, nothing wrong because of the basis of the product that they launch, they go for that population. But in Southeast Asia, Malaysian, Singapore, Chinese, Malay, Indians, we have a mixed population here. That is why we want to make sure the accuracy of this product holds the weight. So we pull out the Asian population. We also pull out a human data bank that contains a lot of Southeast Asian population data. We pull all of them in, plus our own customers, which is all based here in Southeast Asia. So by pulling all of them here, we make sure the data that we use are really very close to the population in this region. All right, so that's something that's very critical to know. So we do not anyhow pull a 23andMe data, no, because it doesn't fit us at all. So we want to make sure scientifically we use the right data as our beginning point. So that actually forms a very important basis right from day one that we take this approach. So after that, we pull the gene, all right? We pull the genes. Oh, what are the genes that's involved that's causing one disease? We have 27 diseases in our product. Every single disease, we will pull out and identify what are the key genes that's causing the mutation, what's causing the genes, what's causing the diseases. We pull out all the genes and we go and study the mutations. We pull out all the mutations. So we pull out all the genes, we pull out all the mutations, we pull every single thing out. We really pull out, all right? So we spend a lot of time pulling data and identify what are the genes to go for, what are the things, whether it holds weight or not. So what we call, and then we compare healthy disease. We compare these two, and creating what we call an odds ratio here. So we have a rubric, you know, to a certain extent, we created a matrix numbering from there. Then we start to look into a rescoring. So we created a rescoring, and that's our proprietary. That's where we patented that, whereby we know what are the odds ratio. We add in a few more substance. We add in your lifestyle. So in the questions that if you sign up this product, you realize that you need to tell us some of your lifestyle habits. All right, some of the lifestyle, and we collect your data from there as well. All right, you will collect your gender, all right, your smoking habit, your drinking habit, if you drink, how many cups per week, and any hereditary diseases. So we collect your data from there, and we add into the matrix here. And this is something additional that we add in because genetic being one, your lifestyle also affects your overall outcome. So we add in as well. So something that's very unique feature here, where we add in all these things. So from there, we come up with a rescoring, and that's where you see the whole numbering there just now. You know, green, yellow, red. So we pull the data with metrics, then we have a machine learning that creates that whole numbering scoring here. Yeah. Now, so you will ask how much we did. 27 diseases, we analyzed more than 1,000 genes. All right, total. And we analyzed a total of 650,000 mutations. All right, we look into all of this and we specifically highlight the features on there. Then we pull out from there. So this is what we do that came out, our product here. And these are the diseases that scientifically we are very confident it has already a very strong scientific background. So these are the diseases that we came up today. All with evidence, scientific good scoring, that we are confident with the scoring matrix, we launched them out. And you realize these are some of the key cancers that we all see today. All right. Some, of course, then stroke, heart attack, high blood pressure. All right. This is another form of stroke. These are some of the diseases. Diabetes type 1, type 2, gestational, and all these things. You realize these are something that I think what we really want to have, what we really want to know. This will be something that's very related to what we want to know, really. Okay. So that's why what we see, this is how we position it. We want something that's what you really need. So please, do take note of that. Now, so in a typical report, you may start to worry, hey, is it hard to read or not? It's not. We make it so easy to read by creating, number one, we tell you what is cancer. Like this case, this is a snapshot of how a typical sample report looks like. Colorectal cancer, some education knowledge behind it. All right, some educational knowledge. What is it? The genes. All right, this is only a subset, but we actually let you know, these are the genes that we analyze. Because from the scientific angle, it's important you know what we are looking at. And these are all scientific journals that's available out there in the platform. That's why it's something that's very easy to read. But it's more, let's say if you want to seek medical consultation, a doctor to look at it, they will know how to interpret those. Yeah. Number three, this is the rescoring matrix that we were talking about. Like in this case, it's a moderate because the score is 2.2. Risk is moderate. Yeah, but okay, not too bad. All right, not too bad. Now, despite not too bad, but we don't just stop here. We look into increased risk with these factors. We look into other factors because genetics is just one of it. In a particular disease, genetic is one key component, but it also determined by what? Lifestyle, diet, and so on and so forth. Environmental. These are some of the key factors that lead on. So, in this particular one, colorectal, we also highlight what is other risk factors that's causing the colorectal cancers. Now, we don't just stop there, we tell you more. We just keep adding. Medium risk, what can you do with it? In this case, of course, we look into like, okay, what is the kind of very generic one, but these are more, we make it a bit more generic, but in the more detailed report, you will see even more details. We actually tell you what is the amount of red meat you should be eating, what is the BMI you should be looking at, what is the weight control, based on your own profile, what is the weight you should be keeping to. All right, it make it more customized for you. It really go in depth into this. Okay, what is the thing you must see? How much red wine you must take, how much white wine you must take, what are the things you should not take, what are the things you should take, and so on and so forth. Now, then we add on, because by even telling you your genetics profile, you know your DNA, you know what you should do, you also need to monitor. I mean, now basically put it this way. Now we put the responsibility back on you. Please go and monitor your own health. I have already told you, please monitor. And in this case, colorectal cancer, we actually make a recommendation. For example, in this case, we actually will ask you to do a colonoscopy every few years. Please go and do something. Every 5 years, go and do a small endoscopy and so on. All right, why? If you were to follow certain regime, moderate risk, not too bad. All right, but if high risk, you are at high risk. If you follow the diet, if you follow the lifestyle, every year you go for certain tests. If your test marker is consistent, okay, it shows what? You are maintaining it. You are preventing it from onset, coming up. Are we all right here? Okay, so something for you that you can, with all these actionable items, is something that now you know how to manage your own health. And all the things that we input here, all the reports that we put in, all the information that we put in here, they are all scientifically proven. Because at the end of the whole report, we actually will even tell you where we put where is our information, which are the journals that we are looking at, which are the journals that we pull these journals from, what are the journals, and all this. So that if you're interested, you can go and download and read yourself, which is fine. All right. So these are something that, at the end of the day, what we do. Now, then we add on another dimension. If you want to seek professional advice, we can give you genetic counseling. Now, genetic counseling kicks in when you are found to be at high risk for some hereditary diseases. For example, breast cancer, cervical cancer, ovarian cancer, which potentially it can pass on to the next generation. Now, in these circumstances, it's already beyond something that a normal doctor can advise. Your financial advisor cannot advise you. I cannot advise you. We need a professional called genetic counselor to do the advising. The genetic counselor is a professional trained to advise the customer what to do next. And we will provide that service. It can be done through tele, so pretty easy to arrange. All right, and that will be strictly confidential between counselor and the customer. We will help to facilitate that accounting. So we provide a value-add services for that. Number two, if you really want to go in depth, because what we are providing you is a very overall picture of maintain your BMI, eat 70 milligrams of vegetables per day, eat how many servings of fruits per day, what kind of fruits, and so on. But if you want to know even more, there is another profession called the genetic dietitians that we have in our team that we can bring in. we can help to facilitate that as well. We will bring the dietitian to you to give you a real professional in-depth advice, very precise one, based on your genetic profiling. This is another one. Third, of course, all right, which is where the kind of insurance products that we look at. Looking at your rescoring, what is the kind of insurance products that we can do a discounted, a discount CI products, for example. Okay, so for this, of course, your financial advisors, all right, will be able to advise you from there. So something along, a lot of value-added services, and this is what I spoke about earlier. What you can do next with the reports. You go back to my earlier slide there. What can you do with it? So we can do much more from there. So we add on more things at the back that give you more value, not just stopping at letting you know your reports, but now you know what you can do with it. I know I can, if I know high risk, more coverage, I better cover myself more to protect my loved ones. If I know I have hereditary disease, I better go for more testings, and so on and so forth. So much more from there. All right. Do you think it's difficult to go for process? It's not. Oops. It's not difficult. You can check your agents with it, the whole process, how we can sign up for the products. All right. If there's a courier, we'll cover it, or else then we'll let you receive your kit. Then you just have to speak in it. Very simple from your end. We will you need to fill in some forms, of course, the registration forms and so on. Speak into it, pass it back, that's it. And you just wait. We will send you the report. And we will email to you the reports directly. All right, and of course, once we receive, we will do all the processing, we will do all the data analytics on our end. That part is on us. All right, and then we will email you the report directly. Then from there, you can have your own follow-up from there. All right, now, common questions asked. What is the difference between genomics, profiling, and health screening? I mean, you always do health screening, right? Your blood checks and all this whatnot. So what is the difference between the two? Health checks for your current status, your current state of health. It means at this point of time, you go for a health check, your health status now, at this juncture. But our genetic profile, we predict, it's a predictive model that we develop, we predict, and we profile. Very big, quite a big difference in that sense. All right, so something to take note here. It is a profiling test, we predict, but with certain accuracy, of course, because of the data that we highlighted earlier. Okay, number two, am I supposed to do genetic tests every 5 years, every 10 years, and all this or not? The answer is no. You just do once in your lifetime because your DNA can't change. All right, you can't change your DNA. You can't change your DNA, how it looks like and all this. All right, but if you have high risk, you can always do the routine test to monitor. If you have low risk, good, maintain it. All right, so that is something that although you have to take note in a sense, all right, you just have to do once. All right, so if someone will say, oh, you must do every 5 years, it's doing. Because your genetic, it will never change. So please take note of that, yeah? Okay? Now, who should go for it? Basically, if we all, if you have family history, all right, if a customer has family history, especially cancers, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and so on and so forth, we recommend probably you might want to do one, all right? Because quite a fair bit of them, the genes does carry. All right, so just something that we will recommend. Is genetic the only factors? No, I mentioned earlier, it's not. All right, genetics is one, but your lifestyle, your diet, and so on matters as well. Okay, but it's one of the key factors. All right, it's one of the key factors here. So, yeah. Now, what happens if I know I'm high risk? Don't need to panic. All right. It does not mean if you are high risk of certain diseases, oh, for sure you're going to have the disease. It's not. It's just that you are at higher risk of having the diseases if you don't watch your routine well. Imagine this risk is like a lock. Imagine it's like a lock. All right. You don't unlock it unnecessarily with a key. But if you throw away the key, it will never unlock. Right? Right now? Same analogy here. If you have a high risk, that means the lock can be easily opened. But if you know how to maintain through our recommendation, through our diet, through our lifestyle, you will not unlock it. And you're okay in general. Are we okay here? I hope I clarified that point. So if you're high risk, it gives you a very good heads up. Okay, I'm high risk at these diseases. I better watch myself. Through certain lifestyle or this, I better watch it. Yeah. Now, but what if I'm at low risk? Does that mean that if you are at low risk, you will never have the disease? It's not the case. Huh? Imagine you are at low risk, but you smoke 10 packets of cigarettes per day. Even you are low risk for lung cancer, you still get lung cancer. All right, let's put it this way. Because your lifestyle is not right. Okay, so imagine that way is this profiling test is a good indication about your risk for certain diseases and how you manage it. It's all about self-management, knowing your own health, manage it well, and prevent the onset of it. Okay, high risk, take more cautious, take note of it. Low risk, good, maintain it. That's all. But it gives you a very good indication already, so you better watch yourself. All right. Now, with this, I come to my end of my presentation. What we want to drive is that your health matters. All right. Please listen to your genes. All right. And with that, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ron, for such an insightful talk about our genes and our genetics profiling. Let's give him another round of applause. Now, having heard what this test can do, we will be hearing more about something very significant related to the test, which is CI, critical illness. But we will not go to the speaker yet, because if there's any question that you may have for Dr. Ron or for the second speaker, please hold on to your questions first. We will have a short session for Q&A later on, and we will welcome all questions. The next speaker will be talking a lot about critical illness. He is representing the Pacific Insurance Berhad. The next speaker, the head of medical from Pacific Insurance Berhad. Let us put our hands together to welcome Mr. Ng Moon Jen. Mr. Ng Moon Jen.
Good morning, Dr. Sharon, Dr. Natin, ladies and gentlemen. So, in collaboration with Genexus and Genomics Health, we have actually worked closely together to come up with a very innovative critical illness insurance. And here I would like to share a quick preview of it. So, in terms of critical illnesses, we know that products in the market, you have coverage of 36 critical illnesses or 100 critical illnesses. But if we drive down to the statistics of it, we can find that most of the claims are actually related to the heart, cancer, and stroke. So when we were designing this product, we were thinking that let's provide more value to customers in terms of just focusing on these key critical illnesses, right? So that's where our scope of the cover is will relate to these 3 critical illnesses. Secondly, in terms of a person having critical illnesses also, as you know, apart from having to deal with the recovery of it, emotional turmoil, there's also the part of the financial part of it. Yeah? Because in terms of treatment costs, as you know, like for cancer, the actual surgery itself will cost easily 30,000-40,000. And after that, they perhaps need to follow through with chemotherapies, maybe 6 cycles. Per cycle, maybe about 6,000 to 10,000 ringgit. So we understand that when a person is hit with the critical illnesses, it's important for us to provide them with some financial assistance. So in terms of the sum insured of payout, we will ensure that the payout is adequate, in order to meet the customer needs. So that's where we came up with the solution to have a simplified critical illnesses cover. Firstly is that we want to ensure that in terms of the enrollment process, it's very simplified. Some of us may have experienced, when you're buying some life insurance or critical illness cover, the whole process takes very long time. You have to fill in multiple forms, and the whole process is very cumbersome. But for this product, we want to ensure that it's very easy enrollment with just a few simplified underwriting questions. And secondly, in terms of the coverage, we are focusing on the key critical illness claims, which is related to cancer, heart attack, and also stroke. And also, as mentioned earlier, the payout has to be sufficient. So that's where our sum insured is very high, up to 350,000. Upon diagnosis of any of these 3 critical illness, there will be a payout of 350,000. And apart from that, also we want to ensure that this product will be, can be bought by the masses. That's where, in terms of the premium, also when we do benchmarking with the competitors, it's very, very affordable in terms of the premium. And to add on to that, as in collaboration with Genomics Health as well, in order to have to make it a bit more attractive for customers who have undergone the DNA profiling test and there's a favorable result, there will be an additional premium discount of up to 10%, when a person purchased this critical illness product. So this is actually the end of my presentation. It's a quick preview of what's to come. And currently, the product is undergoing the regulatory process of submission to central bank. And we are targeted to launch this product somewhere in April next month. So thank you for your attention, and stay safe and have a nice day ahead. Thanks.
We'd like to invite Mr. Ng to stay on the stage at the moment, and we'd also like to invite Dr. Ron to the stage. We will now be open for question and answers, both on the genetic profiling as well as the critical illness. And if there are any questions at all, kindly put forth your questions, and you can just raise your hand. We will make sure a microphone will be brought to you. Any questions? Questions can be in English, Bahasa, or Hawaii. Yes.
What's the duration of the test?
What's the duration of the test? The Patomic.
Sorry, when you say duration, you mean from the report?
The report.
Okay. The whole process, all right, is about 30 working days, 30 days. Upon sample arrival, the report will be sent to you within 30 days. Yeah.
I would like to add on that we will be opening booth later if there's any interested parties who are seated here today to take the genetic profiling test. We will do the booth outside. You can just go and do registration. If you're asking how long that duration will take, less than 10 minutes, including the collection of your saliva for sample. All the process can be completed within 10 minutes, and you can enjoy the light refreshments with that after. Any other questions, please? Yes, sir.
Check. Thank you so much for the wonderful talk, and thank you for this enormous aspect of having a personalized wellness coach and your DNA profiling. I am Sri Kumar, Director for Research at MAHSA. I'm not here to ask a question, but I just wanted to share my experiences in DNA profiling, which I see now is being used very beautifully as a form of predicting your future. About 15-20 years ago, I just like to share this experience. In forensics, I'm a pathologist. So we used to use this as a form of DNA fingerprinting. Now probably you're using PCR. Before we used to use RFLP. And we've had some very interesting situations where we've even found out, identified criminals using the saliva after murdering in the scene. They drink water before they leave the house. The saliva from the glass was taken and the criminal was identified. We even had a body where all the bones, the body was totally destroyed when it was pushed to the side of the bridge. Only the bones were left. We even taken material from the bones using RFLP. We've identified the victim as well. So what we used 20-30 years ago in forensics as a form of DNA fingerprinting is now being used as DNA profiling. It shows how advanced technology is. And thanks to organizations like you are bringing it forth to the public. So it is a great service that you offered. So hats off to you all.
Thank you, Dr. Sri. Dr. Sri is from MAHSA University, and maybe Dr. Ron would like to add something on that.
Indeed. RFLP was actually indeed a very great technology in the field of forensics, really. Yeah. So yes, you're absolutely right, Prof. But that's where the motivation, how we can shape and advance technology. So we do beyond, from RFLP, we advance it to PCR, and then we advance it to microarray. In fact, we are now moving into things like NGS and space and so on. We give us a more in-depth, much more, deeper kind of unlocking the insights of helping other individuals. Yes, Prof, you're absolutely right. And in fact, your work has really set a very good basis. In fact, on your basis that we managed to make this advancement. So really thanks to you, Prof, as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ron. Thank you, Prof. Sri. Any other questions from the floor? Yes, sir. Kenneth from Film. Microphone, please. Thank you.
I don't think that will be necessary. I think Dr. Ron can hear me. So thanks again for the good talk. So Dr. Ron, you mentioned mutations in the DNA sequencing or our DNA line. In your presentation, you only mentioned certain mutations that gave us certain, expect that it was a defect in that it will actually cause higher risk. Do you also analyze mutations that provide us with resistances to these diseases, such as how you mentioned certain DNA sequences allow us to have more resistance to alcohol, so you don't get drunk too early and all that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for these particular ones, for these product lines that we do, not more towards the resistance of it. It's still more towards the susceptibility to it. Yes, but you're right. There are always on profile on the other side of it, which is more on that. In fact, riding onto your point, we are now actually developing a new product. It's called the pharmacogenomics. It's a pipeline that we will be launching pretty soon, in a couple of months' time. Now, how that works, very good point. How that works is that in the event, if let's say, because of diagnosis, all right, let's say there's a diagnosis of a disease on the diagnostic side of it. Okay, right now, I'm putting it as a diagnostic side of it, where we were actually able to now profile you how susceptible or how resistant, in fact, in short, how responsive you are to a whole series of drugs. Through using the same technology, we will be able to profile that, which is good in a sense, because if you look at that, if you look from a certain clinical angle, if you look from the clinical perspective, instead of For example, some of us are not responding to Panadol, the Panadol that we always eat, whenever we are sick. Some of us doesn't break down Panadol as well as what everyone does. All right. My father-in-law, classically, all right, when we take 2 Panadol is good enough. He has to take 4 in one shot, which is not good. Obviously, I always tell him that. All right. He has to take 4. Why? Because he's resistant to it. There's a certain degree of resistance to it. Each of us responds to drug differently. That is why we are now coming up with a new product line called the pharmacogenomics, where we are now even able to profile you how responsive you are to a whole series of drugs. And this will be something that's really going to be very good, because in the event, if, touch wood, someone is down with certain diseases, straight away you know what is the drug you can take, what is the drug you should not take. That would be something that's very useful. And yes, you're right, we are building on to that right now. But at this juncture, in this product line, we are more towards on the sensitive side of it, or how the mutation part of it. Yeah, I hope I answered that.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ron. Any other questions? In the meantime, we would also like to recognize Dr. Maya, who joined us just for the meeting. She's the medical director for MAHSA University. So we would like to open maybe for final one or two questions before we end the session for today. Last questions.
How much is the cost?
How much is the cost? Very important question. The cost for the genetic profiling test, which we will have booth outside for you to register, will cost you 1,500 ringgit Malaysia. That's all. Okay, 1,500 ringgit Malaysia, the most competitive price as at today among all the other so-called providers, not as detailed, but I will not go there because I don't have the basis to go there. But our cost is 1,500 ringgit. Very affordable. We will take cash, we will take credit card for payment later outside. Very simple process. Within 10 minutes, you can go through the whole queue, including collection of your saliva and sample. One final question, if there is. If there's none, I would like to thank Dr. Ron and Mr. Ng for their time for sharing with us today on very important subject matters, particularly to our health. We have now come to the end of the session. We would like to invite the VIPs first to go adjourn to the light refreshments, and the rest of us will join them for the light refreshments. If there's anyone who are so intrigued and want to find out your DNA by conducting this genetic profiling test, you can also do outside on the queue. We will direct you to the counter to do the registration and collecting of samples. With that, I'll take this opportunity to thank Dr. Sharon, Dr. Maya, and the rest of you for spending your valuable time with us. A very good day to you. Thank you very much. Dr. and Datin and the VIPs, can you kindly adjourn to the light refreshments?